Okay, this is a brief introduction to the Cisco Networking Academy, typically referred to netacad.com, because as you see up here, that is the URL I went to. Sometimes when you go to here, especially if you've been here recently, it'll go ahead and log you in, but I started from a log out state. So I'd go over here, click login again, and then it will ask you for your user ID and password if you need it. In my case, I've evidently been on recent enough that it just took me in. Now, what happens is on my screen here, it starts me out at I'm teaching, and it shows some class that I've taught in the past. And our current class. So when you log in, you should just have I'm learning here and then have the course for this semester. And if you signed up for the Intro to Packet Tracer course, you may have that listed as well. Now, you'll notice when I hover over these boxes, this launch course appears. So most of the time what you're going to do is you're just going to go in and immediately go down and click launch course. And here you may have to log in at this location as well. So I'm logging in. And once you're logged in, you will see the course. Now I'm going to go over here and click View as Student so that this is more closely resembling what you will see. So you'll just have a couple of boxes here, and you will be on the main page for the course. If you scroll down, this is where the content of your course is. And ignoring the course intro, which you probably want to do, most of the time we'll be spending time down here in what's referred to as the module groups. So in the syllabus, I talked about how when I first started teaching Cisco, they referred to each section as a module. And then at some point they switched the name to chapter, which I liked. I'd rather use chapter than module. And then about a year and a half or two ago they switched back to using modules. So that's what we have. If I ever say chapter by mistake, I mean module. The other thing they changed in the version 7 of the curriculum is you would do a module and then there would be a quiz for that module. It was a 1-for-1 correlation. In the version 7 curriculum, which is what we're using, they have what they refer to as module groups. So they're modules that have related topics that they group together. So you'll see the first module that we'll start with will be module 1 to 3, and it's referred to as basic network connectivity and communications. And under each of these module groups, you will actually have the content, which is, quote, your book. And then once we go through and we study modules 1 to 3, you'll be assigned to take the module group exams. And then once we do that, we'll move on to modules 4 through 7. So we'll go through these in order. And the other thing I want to point out, I pointed this out in the syllabus, is the average of your grades that you get on these module group exams and the practice final account for 40% of your grade in the course, so they're very important. So let's say we're going to go in and we want to start studying or learning about module 1. So I would click on the course content that includes module 1, and it's going to load up the curriculum. So this is your book. or course content or curriculum. Those will all be used interchangeably. So they have a numbering scheme. So the number by itself up here at the top is basically the chapter or the module. So this is module 1. And within module 1, we have different sections, like 1.0 is intro, 1.1 is networks affect our lives, 1.2 is network components, etc. And within these sections we have, I couldn't think of a good name, so I'm going to use subsections. So what happens is it starts us at the very beginning of this module in the very first subsection, which is 1.01 shown here. So in this case, you would just start out, you would read, why should I take this module? And that's usually to learn about blah, where blah is the topic of the module. Then, if we continue on, what will you learn in this module? Well, we have each of the sections listed here and a very brief discussion of what we will learn in this section. And then first thing they do is they have in section 1.0.3 they talk about downloading and installing Packet Tracer, which you already have an assignment to do, but this would walk you through the steps of doing that. And then they have a getting started video with Packet Tracer. Like I said, I think I've said this, there is an intro to Packet Tracer video. It's actually a course that you can sign up for, and I believe there are instructions in your assignment. You might want to go through, it's like a 10-hour course, and I want to think it has 8 or 10 sections in it. You probably only need to do through about section 4 to really have a good understanding of what it's all about and what we might be doing in the class with Packet Tracer. 1.05 is a Packet Tracer assignment. I will be assigning this. So when I say you need to do PKA, which stands for Packet Tracer Activity, 1.0.5, you go to whatever subsection that I refer to, in this case 1.0.5, and it will tell you, kind of the scenario that you're going to be working through. And then typically there are 2 download buttons. The first one is the instructions. It's a PDF file. That's what this icon is right there. So it's a PDF file that you download that has the instructions for the lab, as well as most of the time there are questions, and you will be answering the questions by editing the PDF file. And then this little download icon actually downloads a file named name of assignment.pka, and PKA again stands for Packet Tracer Activity, and that will be the file that you load into Packet Tracer and then follow the instructions in the PDF. So most of the time you will be downloading the instructions and then downloading the PKA file and going through and doing that. So this will be the first Packet Tracer I assign here shortly. Now, if you look over here in the left, you'll notice that we're in the last subsection in section 1.0. So down here at the bottom, there are 2 buttons. This one lets you go back to the previous section, and this one lets you go forward to the next section. So I'm going to click on, you can either click on the name or this greater than sign. And you'll notice over here it took us to 1.1 and expanded all the subsections that are under section 1.1. And then just like before, you would continue on reading through here. If there's a video, you would watch the video. And then here's some more text to read. And then you would move on to network components. So that is how you get into Netacad.com and some information about how you navigate through the curriculum, and then how you get to your assignments. Again, I want to point out that this is 40% of your grade, the packet tracer activities, so it's very important. And outside the packet tracer activities, the rest of it is the content of the class. Now, as I mentioned in the syllabus lecture, there is a physical book that is really, really, really close to what you see here in the Networking Academy. Obviously, your book is not going to have download links and that type of thing, but as far as the graphics and the text, and I think letting you know that there is an activity here within the online curriculum. It's all in a printed book. Some people prefer physical books. People that travel might rather carry a book, for example, on a plane instead of the laptop. So if you do want a physical book, information on that is listed in your syllabus under the optional textbook. So that's why the syllabus says no textbook is required, is because all of your content is here within the Networking Academy. So this is a brief introduction to get you started with Netacad and kind of know how we navigate through it, how we find assignments, how we download those assignments.